Hi, I'm Jerry Karloff. I shoot for Team Surgeon Rifles. I've got a couple wind reading tips. I like to look through a spotting scope and see the mirage. Generally, it'll always tell you the truth. You know, occasionally it won't, but like 90% of the time, the mirage is going to tell you the truth. And you just have to get used to reading it. You watch it, you know, it flutters up like this or it lays down flat. That tells you the wind speed. Generally, if it's going up at a 45-degree angle, generally it's about a 5-mile-an-hour wind, and if it's laying flatter to the ground, it's usually 10 miles an hour, 12 miles an hour, something like that. I generally do that, and if I'm shooting where there's any trees, when I come up and I take my first shot, I always focus on what the leaves are doing on the trees, and then as long as they stay the same, I do the same hold. But if I can feel it on me, or if I feel the leaves start to move on the trees, I'll usually add a little bit more to my wind hold or take some off, whatever it's doing. But the best thing you can do is focus on the vegetation, because it'll tell you what's going on, and also you always try and feel it on you when you're shooting too. That's the best wind reading tips.
Hey, I'm Melissa Gilliland. A few of my wind reading tips would be, I use the mirage a lot when I'm out there shooting. If it seems like I don't have a whole lot of mirage, sometimes I'll just aim dead center and see which way the bullet's flying, as long as you can see your impacts. That's always a good thing. Another good tip would be to watch your fellow competitor in front of you. I do that a lot as well too, and that gives you a little bit of an idea of which way the wind is going.
Hi, I'm Tyler Payne. I shoot for the United States Army Marksmanship Unit. A couple wind reading tips that I have is watch the mirage. The mirage will always tell you which direction the wind is coming from, and it'll give you an approximate value. The other things to look for is the vegetation. Sometimes there's surveying tape laying around. Anything you can see that might give you some form of a wind call. But in the end, it's all just a guess anyways, so make a guess and shoot your first shot, see where it goes.
My name is Regina Milkovich. I'm shooting for Team Surgeon. Wind reading, man, I'm from Arizona, so our wind reading is 100% mirage. So everything that we look at, cactus, doesn't give you a good wind call. So we base everything on mirage. So using our parallax to go back and forth and see the different ranges. So sometimes you don't have to hold anything, even though it's a 20-mile-an-hour wind at you. Two pieces of gear that I absolutely have to have are a rear bag and a sling. I use those more than anything else. When I practice, I don't practice with a fortune cookie or a game changer or a pump pillow. I practice with a rear bag and a sling in case I go to a match that restricts gear. The match actually won. I won with just a small rear bag.
Two pieces of gear that I absolutely cannot live without would be my Armageddon gear precision rifle sling. I use that a lot when shooting off barricades. And then you can carry your rifle around with it, obviously. But then another piece of gear that I use a lot would be the Armageddon gear fat bag. I use it also as a rear bag sometimes, in different positions too that you get into. It fills the gap between your elbow and your knee. And that's all I got.
For a match, I always like to have a spotting scope. That way I can read the mirage with it. Spotting scope. Rangefinder is a great piece of equipment too. I like to range all the targets. Occasionally there will be a target that's out of range, and if I can figure that out before I go up to shoot at it, I'm way better off. So I like to range every target. Also, I do use a reezer bag. Pretty much use a reezer bag on everything, on the barricades for a rear bag. That's one of my favorite pieces of gear too. But as far as reading the wind and things, that just takes a lot of experience at it. You know, once you start watching it, you'll pick it up pretty quick, but it still takes quite a while. It kind of becomes an art form after a while.
Some of the practice that I like to do is gather my data from prone and then not shoot off my belly again. Almost 95%, I would say, of my practice is off of barricades. So just get off your belly, get comfortable shooting off of uncomfortable positions, and come shoot a match.
That should be good advice. Practice a lot. I like to practice at 100 yards off barricades. I shoot at 1-inch drops, and I try to tighten up my group size. If you're shooting at steel, you can't really tell what your group size is. If you have a miss, you don't know if it was 1 inch off or if it was 5 inches off. But if I shoot at paper kind of seems like work sometimes, but if I shoot at it, I can tell if I'm shooting 2-inch groups or if I'm shooting 5-inch groups, you know, and then you really know, because you might get 8 hits on the field and miss 2, and they might have been 6-8 inches off the plate, and you really don't know that. But if you get 8 hits in the 1-inch dot and you get 2 out here, you know you got problems you got to correct. So enjoy it. It's a fun game. Stick with it. You'll be glad you did.